Every year, like clockwork, many of us try to fix our habits by focusing on what went wrong. Many of us rely on willpower alone to change how things are. But unfortunately, relying on willpower alone is a recipe for failure. Instead, we need to create some proactive and automated habits to make sure we have a successful financial year. So in this video, we are going to talk about 5 money habits to help you start the new year right and ensure you end the year with more money in your pocket. Thank you so much for tuning in to Sisters for Financial Independence. My name is Agopcan, and here at Sisters for Fi, I cover a variety of money topics to help you get better with your money. So whether you are trying to invest for the first time, trying to get out of debt, or just generally want to be better with your money, this channel will have what you need. You can check out some of our latest videos here and of course in the description. Before we get to these tips, let's review the habit loop. Habit loop has 3 components. You have your cue, which is your trigger. It could be a location, time, emotion, or person that tells your brain to go into automatic mode. And then your second component is your routine or the behavior. And this is physical, mental, or an emotional action that you take because of that cue or trigger. And your third component will be your reward or the payoff, the positive feeling or benefit that reinforces the loop, teaching your brain to repeat it. The habit loop happens for both good habits as well as bad habits. Good and bad habits have a way of perpetuating forward. Good habits are great because they can help you feel better and they have a positive change moving forward. Bad habits, unfortunately, keep you on a status quo. Bad habits don't move you forward. What we need to start doing is to create some good habits now that will replace bad habits. That way, we don't feel like we're losing out and we feel like we're making progress. Habit number 1 is to automate your savings and investments, meaning pay yourself first before you pay everyone else. Habit number 1 is the master habit, the queen habit, the habit that makes every other habit 10 times easier. The best thing about this habit is that you don't actually need to do it every day. Oftentimes, it's a one-time setup. With this habit, you remove willpower, distraction, guilt, and decision fatigue from entering into your habit loop. You set up a one-time thing to ensure your money goes where it's supposed to go for your future self. For this habit, you need to decide your target. How much are you going to put aside from each paycheck? It could be 5, 10, 20, whatever it is. Start small. You're going to your bank account and schedule a recurring transfer after each paycheck to move your money from your checking account to your retirement, savings, or any other place that allows you to store your money. At the end of the month, observe if you missed that money that was taken out. For the first few weeks, you might feel that crunch in your budget, but over time, you will get used to the new amount in your checking account. It ensures you have money for your future self by putting it aside first and using the power of automation to do so. Not relying on your willpower, but using a scheduled automated process to do so. Many people won't pursue this habit of automating their money because they are afraid they are not going to have enough at the end of the month. But this is where new habits will be made. When you are forced to pay yourself first, you budget and spend with what's left, which trains you to live within your means while building wealth on the back end. It might mean that you skip a Saturday night out or brown bagging lunch twice a week. When you get to the end of the month and there's not much left to spend, you do get creative. So I first implemented this habit back when I graduated from college. I worked a corporate job, but it only paid me once a month. But the first of the month, all of my money would go to savings accounts, go to my retirement accounts, go pay my car, go pay my rent. And I didn't have much at the end of that cycle. cycle. So I had to get better at using the money I had left over. It also ensured that I had money set aside already and allowed me to live within my means. Now, for the first few months of that system, I was not happy because I hadn't learned yet to budget my money. I would be at the 4th week and really getting anxious that I didn't have much in my checking account. But over time, I learned to allocate my money well, to spend and spread that spending across the months. The first few months are going to be tough, but remember that this is a good habit moving forward. You are building financial security and creating new habits. Now, if this is scary and you still are worried about not having enough in your checking account, make sure you budget properly and account for all of your expenses. I also think habit 2 will help you with this. Habit number 2 is to forecast irregular and annual expenses so you don't get any surprise bills. The biggest thing we need to understand is that most of our expenses are fairly predictable. Yet every year we are shocked that Christmas is here again, that car insurance bill feels big, or that school supplies cost a lot. Habit number 2 requires that you create an annual budget and review it often. Basically, you want to look at your big once a year costs. It could be the holidays, kids' birthdays, car insurance, life insurance, anything big that you need to save up for, and divide that by 12. Then use habit number 1 to create an automated process to start little chunks of money for each of those large expenses. That way you are not surprised by the big expense when the time comes. As you face these larger expenses, you are going to make it a habit to divide that large expense across months so you can start saving money immediately for it instead of waiting when it's due. Most budgets fail because we are not accounting for these large once a year costs. This throws off our monthly budget, which puts us into a spiral of feeling like a failure, not doing anything about it, and then overspending. This is why before you even get on your monthly budget, you need to sit down and account for your annual budget. Review it over the year so that you are accounting for these large expenses. That way you have a plan in place, and that way you are saving up for these expenses instead of getting caught off guard. This habit of recognizing these large expenses and spreading it over time gives you a lot of predictability, which is the secret ingredient to financial peace. So how do you make this habit actionable? Review your expenses and make sure you jot down these large expenses. And what we'd recommend is to create some sub-savings accounts so you can start putting money into separate buckets. That way you know that money has been specifically designated for that large expense. Here at Sisters Forfi, we love Capital One and Ally because they have those options. You can create sub-savings accounts that have their own account number, and it allows you to separate your money. Capital One and Ally also are online high yield savings account. So they do offer a little bit more interest when you put money there. That way your money can still grow while you're setting money aside for that large expense. And then what you can do is list all of your large expenses like you'll see here, and then you are going to create those automated processes to transfer small amounts of money to that specific account. That way you start saving a little bit at each time, and when it's time to pay that larger bill, you have that money ready for you. Ally is running a new account bonus. If you qualify, you could get an extra $100 in your account. See the link in the description to check it out. If you need help creating your annual budget, this video walks you through that along with a template that you can use. Habit number 3 is to designate a no spend day or a no spend weekend. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded with reasons to spend, and it's so easy to tap and go. So it can be countercultural to not spend any money. The goal with no spend days isn't about restriction. They're about building a financial muscle without burnout. The no spend challenge is a temporary but fun reset button to your spending. And basically, you pick a day or two and buy absolutely nothing. You start getting into the habit of having 1 or 2 days a week where you are not shelling out your cash, pulling out your credit card, or tapping to pay. Now, you set the rules, but basically the goal is to break the autopilot spending cycle, and it forces you to be creative. For example, if you make a rule that you are going to do no takeout Tuesdays, you have to start getting creative with what's in your fridge. If you create a rule for yourself that you're not going to spend any money on the first weekend of the month, you start trying to figure out free things that you can do. Maybe it's a hike, maybe it's hitting the library, but you start getting into these other habits that will allow you to accomplish habit number 3. And the best thing is that it gives you quick wins and confidence to know that you don't have to rely on the consumption cycle to keep yourself happy or occupied. I think it's fair to say that many of us default to buying as a solution to our problems. If we're bored, we might scroll through Instagram and see something we like and buy it. If we are worried or anxious, we turn to our phone, which has lots of marketing material. And oftentimes, if we have a problem, we go to Amazon and buy it immediately. But when you put in some breaks to your spending, when you implement a day where you are not allowed to spend, you do tend to get creative and you start thinking that maybe I don't actually need the item. Maybe I have a solution at home. So instead of defaulting to buying as a solution to your problem, you start thinking of solutions that exist within your home, within your skill set that you can use instead. Now, when I was growing up, it was a habit for our family to go to the mall. But over time, as an adult, I had to change that habit. I had to say to myself, what are you doing on the weekends? Why are you at the mall? Are you really getting value out of this? And over time, I started weaning myself from going to the mall. Was it hard? Yes, because growing up as a child, that was what we did. It was our pastime. We were used to that habit, that behavior, those triggers that allowed me to spend. So when you look at this no spend habit, you will likely find certain things from your childhood that you continue to do even though it serves you no purpose today. So think about that as you take on some of these new habits. Are you doing them because it's what you've always done? Habit number 4 is to adopt a few digital minimalist habits. This has been designed to get us to spend. There are literally millions of people working to improve the spending process on our phones, from social media platforms with e-commerce integration to the tap to pay buttons on our apps to the tap to pay on our phones. Almost every company's goal is to get you to spend money. So for habit number 4, we need to create some barriers from this. Before we get to some tips to help you reduce your usage, let me introduce you to Professor Scott Galloway to emphasize the need for us to understand our device usage and understand how it impacts our spending.
90% of us will spend everything that comes into our hands. So you want to find saving mechanisms that keep the dollar out of your hand. The smartest people on the planet aren't trying to put a person on Mars or solve world hunger. They're trying to figure out a way to use technology to hit you on a screen at the exact right moment when you're in the exact right move so they can sell you a pair of Bombas socks with your on running shoes at the exact right moment or get you to upgrade from economy to economy comfort. It is nearly fucking impossible not to spend as much or more money than you have in this environment. So forced savings are a great way to build wealth.
So remember that some of the smartest people out there in the planet are working to get you to spend. These are marketing folks, you have data science, product managers, project managers, whose job is to get you to spend money. So here are some tips to help you adopt digital minimalism habits. First up is to delete shopping apps that you don't need or that are constantly asking you to buy something. I know this is very older millennial of me, but I still go on my computer to buy something because I know that apps have been designed to get you to buy more and buy it quickly. Second thing is to turn off push notifications. There's so much noise in the world. And when you're getting bombarded with those text messages that something is on sale, 40% off, it can be very tempting to click and buy. Number 3 is to unsubscribe from marketing emails. Get aggressive with your inbox. Use tools to quickly unsubscribe from every store and deal email. If you need something, search for it. Don't let deals come to you. You can't spend money on something you don't know exists. Next is to remove the ease of tapping to pay. This might mean removing your credit cards from browsers, removing it from your digital wallets, as well as your device wallets. That way you have to take out a credit card or get up to get your credit card to pay for something. And that extra step might prevent you from buying stuff. Next is to audit your social media following. If you follow influencers whose job is to sell you things, it might be time to unfollow or mute them. Less exposure to shopping triggers like hauls or product reviews means less spending. Limit time on platforms that trigger you to spend money. It might be time to reduce your TikTok usage, your Instagram usage, especially if they have been encouraging you to spend more. Lastly, consider instituting a screen-free hour before bedtime and after waking up. This will change your brain from constantly wanting that dopamine hit from your feeds or whatever is on your phone. You need to add barriers to how you're accessing your device because it is just so easy. Now, I remember reading Cal Newport's book, Digital Minimalism. And the first thing I adopted was not to take my phone into our bedroom. That practice has stayed with me over the years. It's one habit I have been able to take on and get a benefit from. Now, my phone stays on the counter in the kitchen. I do wear a watch, so if there is an emergency, I will get a call through here. But other than that, I don't access my phone into the bedroom. I don't have it first thing in the morning. It sits on the counter. These little hacks, just added barriers for accessing your device, can lead you to not spending as much because you're not constantly getting bombarded by marketing, by notifications to buy and get something else. Habit number 5 is a little bit different than all of the habits we have covered in this video. Habit number 5 is to track your work wins so that you can level up your career. Your income is one of your most powerful financial tool. So it stands to reason that you do need to spend some time to figure out if you are getting paid well, if there's other opportunities you could be taking on, and if there's more opportunities for you down the line. And one of the things you can start doing is to track your accomplishments and make sure people in your group, your manager, your peers know all of the good work that you are doing. Now, this is a habit that you'll need to start forming, especially if you are one that is sort of quiet at work, wanting to let your work speak for itself. It's time that we share all of the good work that we're doing so that we get recognized properly. Most people will spend hours comparison shopping just to save $50. But many of us are not spending enough time to see if we can make more money at work, to see if we can ask and reach for those opportunities. When you start tracking all of your wins at work, it will boost your confidence, enough so that you will likely start asking to see if you can get a raise because you're doing a good job, to see if there's other opportunities that you can take on because you know that you are capable. And it might also give you a confidence boost to search for more lucrative jobs outside of your current company. If a client or another manager gives you a kudos or a thumbs up, save it into a separate email folder, track it into a spreadsheet. Just make sure you get it down. That way you can look at it and also have it ready when your performance reviews comes up. Many people will just go with the day-to-day without thinking about how they can move on to the next step when it comes to income, when it comes to promotions. So when you start taking this on as a habit, you start realizing that maybe you do need to step up to get more work wins and ensure you level up in pay. Along with this habit is to do a career audit. Make sure you understand what else can move the needle for your career, what other skills or certificates you can take on. One of the habits you can also take on is to always take a new class every year. Make it a habit to find something new in your industry that you could benefit from, that your company could benefit from, and pitch it to your boss. Let your company pay for upskilling you so that you have the skills necessary to move forward and the skills necessary to move up. The new year is not about punishing yourself for old habits. It's about building smarter ones that make life lighter, calmer, and more predictable. Remember, you don't need a lot of willpower. You need a system. And if you're starting from scratch, start with habit 1. Automate your savings and build from there. And then pick a second habit, track it for the next 30 days, and see what comes out of it. Remember, small habits, when repeated, become your new normal. To help you keep track of your new habits for the new year, I've got some free templates for you to use in the description. Let me know in the comments which habit you are going to take on for the new year. And for other videos to help you with your money for the new year, this video is for you. Thank you so much for watching and Happy New Year. I will see you in the next video here at Sisters for Fi. Bye.